Ever bought a Levi's jeans in a mall in London, an H&M t-shirt in New York, a jewellery in Dubai, or seen a Fuso truck in Africa? There are high chances that all of them are proudly made in India. Don't believe me? Let the numbers talk for themselves. Numerous reports reveal that India's export story is on fire. According to the Indian Ministry of Commerce and Industry, between April and July 2025, non-petroleum exports touched 127.46 billion US dollars, a solid 7.7% jump from last year. That's not just a statistics, it's a signal that India is strengthening its seat at the global trade table. As a result, more and more international brands are investing in India because everybody wants a slice of India's growth story. It's not just the top manufacturers like Apple, Adidas or Daimler Truck, but all the stakeholders of the trade and supply chain are investing in India. Because while building products is one side of the story, transporting products to several international markets is another. That's where freight forwarders come in, bridging India's factories with consumers worldwide and ensuring that the promise of Made in India products are delivered on time despite geopolitical and trade disruptions. They are the invisible backbone, ensuring containers are booked, cargo moves smoothly, and that India's promise of reliability reaches overseas buyers. And even top freight forwarders are putting their money on the Indian market. But why? To answer that question, welcome to a new episode of CargoTales. I'm Rajoshi Chatterjee from the Stat Trade Times, and right now I'm in Mumbai at the brand new India office of Scan Global Logistics or SGL, a Danish forwarder founded in 1975 as Maya Freight and sold to an American private equity firm AEA Investors in 2016. In 2023, CVC Capital Partners took a majority stake in the forwarding company. Right now, SGL has presence in 6 continents with over 190 offices and 4,500 employees worldwide. After expanding to various new markets, either through organic growth or through acquisitions, SGL has entered India. But why India and why now?
We're latecomers here. We should maybe somebody would have said that why didn't you open up in India 5 years ago? And we have been consolidating over the last 10 years. We have done multiple acquisitions, and we will continue to do so. And we have been looking at multiple acquisitions in India, and we have stepped down. And the main reason is that we have not found a company where we thought that the cultural fit was right.
So, eventually, SGL opened 3 offices in India, Mumbai, Delhi and Chennai. With Mumbai as the headquarters, the company aims to open offices in 8 cities by the end of 2025 and open 20 offices in 3 years. So, why is SGL investing so much on India? Is it because of its growing importance as a major exporting hub? And what's powering this rise? The engines of India's economy are engineering goods, which grew nearly 14%, electronic goods surging an incredible 34%, gems and jewellery glittering with 29% growth, pharma climbing 14%. Take the automotive industry for instance. Financial year 2025 was a milestone year. India exported 760,000 passenger vehicles, about 14% higher than the year before. Now, Maruti isn't slowing down. By 2030, it wants to triple exports. With an investment of over 450 billion rupees, the company plans to roll out 4 million cars annually, with nearly 800,000 units set aside for exports. But these are all pre-tariff numbers, and the big question now is how the new US tariff regime could alter this trajectory. The challenge isn't confined to automobiles or gems and jewellery. Textiles, one of India's largest export sectors, is also under pressure. India is the world's 6th largest exporter of textiles and apparel, contributing to more than 8% to India's exports in financial year 2024 and holding a 3.9% share in global trade. Yet, the US's steep 50% tariff threatens to hit nearly one-fourth of India's textile shipments over the next 6 months. The impact is already visible. Order cancellations are piling up, and in some factories, stacks of fabric samples for upcoming collections are gathering dust. These are just the early casualties of tariffs announced by the US President Donald Trump. The auto component sector, too, is bracing for the new regime. Unlike garment exporters who face a flat 50% duty hike, auto component manufacturers are subject to varying tariff slabs. This offers some room for relief depending on product categories and specific export segments. Still, the uncertainty is weighing heavily across industries. Beyond textiles and auto parts, other major exports like shrimp, gems, and jewellery are also exposed to potential disruptions in the US market. Yet, despite these headwinds, India retains strong advantages. Its combination of quality manufacturing, lower labor costs compared to developed economies, and increasingly reliable supply chains continues to attract international investment.
I see India as a very high potential. I think India is probably one of the most interesting markets in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
In 2024 alone, SGL reported over 2 billion euros in revenue. And in the first half of 2025, it grew even stronger. Revenues up 24%. Earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization up 13%, fueled by air and ocean freight and a string of smart acquisitions. SGL also achieved a major milestone in 2024 with gross profit surpassing 500 million euros for the first time, reaching 516 million euros, a 10% increase from 2023 pro forma, driven by solid organic growth and acquisitions. EBITDA before special items stood at 195 million euros within guidance, though margins were slightly affected by investments in workforce expansion. Operating cash flow turned negative at 90 million euros, mainly due to higher net working capital from rising freight rates. Volume surged across both segments in 2024, with air freight up 33% and ocean freight up 38%, surpassing 550,000 TEU, particularly strong in the APAC region. Momentum carried into 2025, with H1 revenue climbing to 1,263 million euros and gross profit to 275 million euros. EBITDA grew 13% to 94 million euros, supported by strong activity in EMEA and Asia, double-digit air and ocean volume growth, and contributions from acquisitions in Brazil, Italy, and Canada. So, what's the company's outlook for the rest of the 2025?
I think we've just filed our half-year result, which is more or less in accordance with our expectations, and we have also guided the market that we believe that we will deliver according to guidance for the full year. I think it's also fair to say that we as management is not entirely satisfied with the result for the first half year, and we do also see what you rightfully said, that there's increased volatility in the market. There's also tendencies that we are seeing overcapacity in the market that will require extra efforts from every employee in our organization to make sure that we maintain our margins, and we need, as anybody else, to become more efficient as we move forward. We need to pay more attention to margin expansion, etc. So I think in that essence, the different disciplines running a freight forward is not different from what we are doing and what our colleagues in the industry are doing.
But what makes SGL invest in India? What's SGL's vision for India?
We're now opening up with 3 offices here in India, which is the headquarters here in Mumbai, it's Delhi and Chennai. That is the plan, and then we will open up in additionally 5 cities in the next short-term period. If we look 3 years ahead, it's our expectations to be in approximately 20 cities across India, being able to service the entire market, understanding the multiple differences from north to south and east to west in India. We as a group believe that culture is essential, And I personally believe that culture eats strategy for breakfast and for lunch. And therefore we have been searching for quite a while to identify the right team with the right people. People who understand the Indian culture in a way that we don't. And I firmly believe that India is about, I think, 22 official languages and 1,600 dialects. So it's quite something to actually understand. And therefore for us, finding the people who understand the local culture, but at the same time believe in the same vision in terms of people, of culture as we do. And that's why we have entered the market right now. And that's why we see bringing our way of operating into India will make a huge difference for the very, very large Indian SME markets that takes up the vast majority of the Indian market. So we firmly believe that we'll be able to add value to the customers here in India.
Be it automobiles, pharma or textiles, India is already a major exporting hub, and SGL holds expertise in handling a variety of consignments from humanitarian aid to project cargo. Which sectors hold the biggest promise? Automotive, pharma, electronics or textiles? And how will SGL tailor solutions for each?
Yeah, I mean, from an India perspective, of course, of late we have seen a massive push around the manufacturing where the share of manufacturing has to go up. What we have seen of late is the industrial and engineering, where a lot of push has happened, where the manufacturing investment has happened. That definitely is an upcoming vertical. Beyond that, what we see is pharma, fashion, retail definitely is doing very well. Renewable is another vertical which is really shaping up well, given what our local ambition of India as a nation, plus the potential for exports to different markets in Europe and America is also catching up in a significant way. So those are typically some of the verticals where there's a massive play which is happening in India today.
Over the past 7 years, SGL has completed nearly 20 acquisitions, including the $109.2 million purchase of Fopiani Shipping and Logistics, expanding into new markets worldwide. As SGL enters India after expanding its footprint in East Africa and North America, what's SGL's strategy for India? Acquisitions or organic growth?
We have done acquisitions over the last 10 years, and I would not rule out that we would do an acquisition in India, but it's not something that is planned for the short-term period.
But for a forwarding company, India is bigger than just an exporting hub. So could India be a transshipment hub connecting Asia to the Western world?
What has happened over the past years, India never focused as being a transshipment hub. And of late, what we have seen is a massive investment which has gone through. One classic example is Vizhingham, which has come up as a potential transshipment hub, rivaling, basically creating an option against Colombo. And then we are seeing a huge amount of investment which are happening on the terminal and the ports. Vadhavan will be another one. And I think from a policy perspective, plus the investment, what is going into infrastructure, there's a clear expectation from a policy perspective that India starts to become a transshipment hub. I mean, so the business of what we were losing to other countries, we will be able to potentially capture those. And so clearly we are seeing that investment happening, policy changing, and that will help us to be India to be established as a transshipment hub.
And can air freight forwarders leverage multimodal logistics network to make cross-border shipments more cost-efficient and sustainable?
So that point basically comes through multimodality. It comes through is air, sea, road, sea, air, or a combination of those sea-air combination or road combination. We are already seeing a lot happening. Specifically post-COVID, we have seen a lot of that. It's a question of not only cost efficiency, it's also a question of ESG coming up, because burning fuel on air, you're producing more carbon versus whether you could go on a different modes which are less carbon emitting modes, and that is clearly the customers are demanding for it. There is a business case for it. It helps to reduce costs. It also helps in the ESG agenda. So we are clearly seeing that, and more customers are demanding for it for sure.
While India's export engine is revving, how can India secure its position in the global trade in the age of uncertainty, be it changing tariffs or geopolitical tensions?
Yeah, that's $1 million question. Everyone is thinking about it. I think if I see India as a country, we thrive in challenges. And I think this new challenge, of course, we have been living in a very abnormal world, and that has become a very normal now. The way we see India as an exporting hub, I think lot companies are now looking for alternative ways of how do we adapt to the latest challenges. What we are saying, I think the government is doing a lot of work in terms of signing up FTAs with multiple countries. Of course, there are big ones which are upcoming. That will open up new markets for the Indian exporters, and that definitely should be helping us. If on the short term, if tariffs are really creating a problem, I think the new markets are going to open up, and we will, and most likely as a country, we see those challenges, and I'm sure the exporters, the manufacturers will find opportunity around here, and will thrive and come out as a winner. And that's my belief. We should come out as a winner.
But it's important to note that supply chain is one such sector that has consistently supplied the world with necessities, be it medicines, PPE kits, or humanitarian aid. Even when the world came to a standstill during COVID-19 pandemic, supply chain delivered its promise. And earlier this year, SGL delivered humanitarian aid from Manila to Myanmar. In response to a Myanmar earthquake earlier this year, teams from Denmark, Philippines, and Myanmar coordinated across regions to transfer humanitarian goods onto a B747 charter flight within 12 hours. A total of 462 pallets were prepared and shipped, highlighting the importance of rapid planning, execution, and cross-border collaboration during crisis. Though humanitarian aid comes with so many different challenges, there's a different level of satisfaction and happiness when we know we are part of something bigger and our effort has actually saved someone's life. Remember those trending reels on social media a few months back or even now, showing entire houses being built by a 3D printer? Fascinating, isn't it? But moving these massive printers across the world is no small task. Even when shipped unassembled, some parts stretch over 10 meters in length and weigh more than 2 tons each. And it's not just about 3D printer parts. Logistics players face similar challenges when transporting aircraft engines or wind turbine components. Moving such oversized shipments comes with its own set of challenges. So, how does a forwarder actually transport such cargo?
If we deal with the global clients, mostly the biggest challenge what they see is because when you're dealing with such equipments, the HSSC, which is the health safety, becomes a very critical part of it. Compliances, maintaining SOPs, maintaining safety becomes a very critical part. I mean, technicalities of lifting, moving, that comes without saying. But I think one area which normally gets overlooked is the safety part, the security part, the following the SOPs which have been defined so that you can really move that without harming people, without injuring people. So that definitely takes a massive focus actually.
Clearly, logistics players face challenges often unknown to the world, and the world of logistics is a fascinating one, but it often stays in the shadows. So, to know more about such interesting stories from the world of logistics and supply chains, stay tuned with us as we come back soon with another episode of CargoTales.